Ankara, the capital of Turkey, is not only famous for being a capital, but also for a kind of cat, which, with its long, beautifully soft, silky white fur, has a special place in feline literature throughout the world. The Angora, or Ankara, cat. Known in Europe in the 16th century, Angora cats are considered to be the ancestors of long-haired cats. Their home is in the center of Turkey, in Ankara, which was formerly known as Angora. Long-haired cats are generally known in Europe as Angora cats, but in America they are known as Persians. In fact, however, Angoras and Persians are quite different. Persian cats are bigger than Angoras. Their legs and tails are shorter, while their fur is longer and woollier. Also, Persians have an underlayer of shorter hairs at the base of their long hairs, which makes them look bigger than Angoras. The head of a Persian is bigger and its face is flat. The head of an Angora is smaller and the upper part is broader, while the chin is pointed. This feature gives the face a triangular appearance. Around the neck is a mane of permanently erect hairs. The ears are relatively long and pointed, with hairy tips. Its nose and mouth and the soles of its feet are pink. Its tail is long and hairy and tapers towards the tip. Its eyes may be of various colors, but are always large and almond-shaped. Angora cats also get confused with Van cats. The people of Turkey believe that the Van cat has eyes of two different colors, that is, different from each other on the same animal, while the Angora cat has both eyes blue. But this is not true.
You find one cats with both eyes blue and Angora cats with both eyes blue. One cats with both eyes yellow or lime green and Angora cats with both eyes yellow or green. Angora cats with one eye blue and the other eye yellow, and one cats with one eye blue and the other eye yellow. Eye color isn't a feature that you can use to tell one cats from Angoras.
These two breeds of cats really do look a lot like each other. It is very difficult to tell them apart. For a start, they are both white. But while an Angora cat is always long-haired, there are two kinds of van cats. Those with long, silky hair, and those with short, velvety fur. Of course, it is easy to distinguish the short-haired van cat from the Angora cat because of the latter's long hair. Also, the short-haired van cat usually has round eyes, while the Angora cat has almond-shaped eyes. However, there is a kind of Angora cat that appears to have short fur. And on top of that, this kind also has round eyes. But in fact, even though its fur appears to be short, the fur of this kind of cat is quite long, and it has the Angora's mane around its neck. Even if an Angora cat's fur appears to be short, nevertheless, it is longer than that of a short, velvet-haired van cat. When it comes to distinguishing between long-haired vans and Angoras, things get really complicated. They both have long hair, and they both have almond eyes. But during filming, the feature we were always able to use to tell them apart, be they long or short-haired varieties, was the shape of the face. Actually, both breeds have triangular faces, but the face of an Angora is much slimmer and more elegant, while one can see that the face of a van cat is somewhat plumper and more rounded. On the other hand, Angoras are more delicately built than vans. And the structure of their hairs is a little different. The hairs of an Angora cat are finer than those of a long-haired van cat. Quite apart from these differences, throughout our filming, we observed that the behavioral patterns of the two breeds were different. Angora cats gave the impression of being more domesticated, of being creatures much more in tune with the interior of their home than with the outside world. But Van cats seemed to be creatures able to adapt more easily to any situation, to the natural environment and to the outside world. On this subject, these are the observations of a cat owner who has both an Angora and a Van cat.
The Angora cat is much more attached to people. She chooses certain people and adopts them as her own, identifies with them. But I've never seen that with the Van cat. For example, it doesn't matter to the Van cat if my husband goes away and I stay here. But the Angora starts to act all obstinate if one of us goes away from the other. The Van cat's very independent. It's as though she doesn't care. She's so sure that she'll be looked after and loved, and she's prepared to love whoever it is that does it. The Angora cat isn't like that at all. We think maybe in part it's because she's deaf. I don't know. Maybe all Angoras are like that. Now, the Angora likes to dictate how, when and what she wants. Her stroking time is fixed, and if she doesn't want it, then she won't come onto anyone's lap. There's no flattering her or anything. If that's her fancy, she is like the lord of the house. The other one, the Van, goes to anyone who wants to stroke him. She's a more gentle creature, more gentle, but she really identifies with nature. She's always wanting to go out. She goes to anyone who wants to stroke her, the local school children and all that. She doesn't worry about who's a stranger, she's more open to nature. The other one's even afraid of birds. Behind the glass of the window she pretends to be a tiger, but when we take her out onto the patio or the balcony, you should see how she's terrified of the pigeons. She runs and hides. The Van one isn't like that. She tries to chase the birds and small animals and all that. She's more adventurous.
Angora cats give the impression of being more attached to humans and of not being able to manage without them. On that subject, let's listen to what another Angora cat owner has to say.
It's said that to give birth, they hide in cupboards or under beds. But it was really interesting. This creature was pregnant and the labor pains began at 5 o'clock in the morning. She came and woke me up, and she suffered until 10 o'clock the same morning. She wouldn't let me leave her for a moment and made it quite clear she was definitely going to give birth right there on the bed. While she was giving birth, she wouldn't let me leave her even for a second.
The incidence of deafness in Angora cats is higher than in Van cats. Because this cat can't hear, it's very fond of light and plays of light. The reason why deafness is especially common among white cats still isn't clear. Deafness is more often encountered in cats with all blue eyes. But this doesn't mean that all blue-eyed cats are deaf. As a matter of fact, this Angora cat with different colored eyes is deaf. It is said that the most practical way to prevent deafness, or at least to reduce its incidence, is not to breed from deaf cats. Since Angora cats are considered to be the ancestors of long-haired cats, it has been said that Van cats are therefore a type of Angora cat. But Professor Ataman Güre does not accept this view. Van is a much older settlement than Ankara, and migration has tended to be from east to west. And he suggests that for these reasons, white cats originated in Van and only came to Ankara later. However, he does add this.
But we mustn't forget that the animal world in Ankara doesn't only consist of Angora cats. Other animals like the Angora rabbit, with the same characteristic, that is long white hair that can be used to make Angora wool, have also entered the literature. The hair of Angora goats is also very long and the fleece is very fine. This had led some people to say there is something unique to Ankara, though in fact goats are bred on the North American continent with fleeces that have the same characteristic as Angora goats. Now studies which aim to find out where this characteristic originates from have led to the conclusion that it's the geological and climatic conditions of Ankara region that are responsible for the hair being so long and fine.
Because of this, he adds that albinism could have arisen independently in the cat populations of Ankara and Van.
What we call albinism normally has an incidence of 1 in 10,000. We divide it into two types, partial albinism and full albinism. In full albinism, the eyes are pink, but not from pigmentation. They look pink or red because the tiny erythrocytes, or red blood cells, in the blood vessels of the eyes reflecting coming light. Whereas these cats have blue or yellow eyes caused by blue and yellow pigment respectively. For this reason, we don't refer to these cats as full albinos, but as partial albinos. At this point, I'd like to show you an example of full albinism. Let's put this lovely cat on one side for a moment. And here is a full albino baby rabbit. You see, it has no pigment at all.
In full albinism, the eyes are pink, as with some white rabbits. So what is happening with what Turkish people call amber eyes? Amber is quite close to pink after all.
For amber-colored eyes to occur, we have to have yellow eyes, but with some pigments lacking so that the red from the blood vessels can be seen through the yellow, producing amber, which is a mixture of red and yellow. If the eyes are dark amber, it means we can see more red because there is even less of yellow pigment. In other words, we are getting closer to a situation of full albinism.
Meanwhile, there are some who say that white fur has nothing to do with albinism, but is hereditary. After all, they say, all white kittens have either a white mother or a white father. Call it albinism or heredity, white fur occurs in the presence of a dominant gene for whiteness, known as W. If either the mother or the father is a homozygote, that is, has inherited the W gene from both parents at the same time, all the kittens will be white. But most white cats are not homozygotes, but heterozygotes. That is, they have inherited only one copy of the W gene from one parent. Their kittens may be of various colors. Take Sophie, for instance. Her mother and father are both white Angora cats. Pas and Snow are Sophie's son and daughter by Prince, another white cat. Although there has been no deafness in the family up to now, Snow is deaf. And as you see, of the kittens resulting from Sophie's mating with her own son Pas, one of them is black. Although its mother and father grandmother and grandfather are all white, they were probably heterozygotes. One of the kittens has turned out black. When this happens, although the mother and father were both Angora cats, the black kitten is considered to be crossbred and is not described as an Angora cat. In 1963, an American couple took a pair of Angora cats from Ankara back to the United States, began to breed from them, and started an Angora cat club there. But in spite of the club's scrupulous breeding policy over many years, from time to time it was observed that kittens of other colors were being born to all-white cats. As a result of this, in 1989, the International Cat Federation, FIFA, finally accepted these non-white cats as Angoras. And in 1994, there was a cat show for Angoras in which non-white cats were able to enter for the first time. Meanwhile, back in Turkey, Sophie's black kitten still hasn't been accepted as an Angora. But if the International Cat Federation's decision is implemented in Turkey, this kitten may become Turkey's first registered black Angora cat. In this shot, he's 15 months old. Now, let's go back a year, to the time when Sophie gave birth. Kittens are 4 or 5 hours old.
Sophie was given birth for the 4th time. The babies were very big, so she had a difficult birth. First, the black-spotted one was born. Then, the all-black one. After that, it was another hour before the 3rd one was born, and at first it didn't move at all. We thought it was stillborn, but then it slowly came round, and after that its initial development was fine, like the others.
Here, the kittens are 10 days old. Like all cats, Angora kittens' eyes open at around 10 days. Both this kitten's eyes are open, while the black kitten has just one eye open. The other white kitten's eyes are still closed. With the maternal instinct possessed by all animals, Sophie takes the kittens away from us.
By the time they were about a month old, we noticed that two of them were coming on really well. They were very active. Also, they could answer our calls, but we noticed that the one that had been born last couldn't hear and was moving strangely. It would rock its head, move it in circles, and gradually we began to fear the worst. There was something wrong with its balance, and it was developing a bit slowly. Then, when it was 40 days old, it died. Then Sophie cried a lot. For a whole day she looked for the kitten. She cried and cried, but the next day she slowly began to occupy herself with the other two again. Now they're developing really well. In particular, the white one's really active. The black one's just a little bit slower and quieter.
In these scenes, the two remaining kittens are 50 days old. They are a little more active compared with when they were a month old. When they are 2.5 months old, they are visibly bigger.
The first time Sophie had one kitten. She was very small. The first time she gave birth, she was 8.5 months old. And she wasn't a very good mother, but she gets better every time.
Everyone knows that cats are usually very good mothers. So what's their love life like? We tried to film this in the relationship between Özgen, an Angora male, or Tom, and Benekli, a half-breed Van female, or queen, who is on heat. Whatever breed they are, cats always display typical feline behavior. But every cat still has its own personality. We wondered whether, in addition to this, Angora cats have any distinguishing behavior as a breed.
Angora cats don't go in for fighting much. They like their comfort. But they aren't stupid. They are very clever animals. Even if they can't hear, they can communicate their every wish quite easily using just eye contact. They are very clean animals and very fond of comfort.
Çok temiz bir hayvan. Temizliğe çok düşkün, rahatına düşkün.
Apart from that, I don't suppose there is much to distinguish them from other cats.
Ayıracak bir şey.
Other cats are more carefree, but these ones are much more elegant in comparison. Perhaps it's because they're of noble blood. For example, when they walk, it's always with their tails in the air. They walk with style. I like that a lot. They're a bit capricious, you see, with their food, for instance. And if I finished my work and want to take them on my lap, they won't let me. Just first thing in the morning when they get up, then if they're feeling like it, they'll give me permission. Other times, there's no way I can take them and they'll warn me. First, they'll hit me with their paws, then if I keep trying, they'll get their claws out and start to scratch. In that respect, they organize their own dealings with people. They make the rules.
Now, the last cat we had was a Persian. He was more docile and closer to us. And he acted more in accordance with our wishes. Our Angora cat has turned out to be a bit different. He made us accept him, and he made us accept his wishes, and we started to act in accordance with those wishes. There was a bigger conflict of personalities with him, and more of a problem of acceptance. But then we grew to love him, and in turn, he began to be more docile.
Angora cats are friendlier and quieter. I mean, my cat in particular is very quiet. She isn't wild. She never scratches, even if something's hurting her. I've never had the slightest scratch wound. I mean, even if you hurt her, she'll run away, but she won't scratch. She is a really quiet cat. I mean, from what we've seen, she is really different from other cats.
My Angora cat is one of the most obstinate of them all. The others are all very docile and sensitive cats. The Angora is much more proud. She doesn't get up close like the others to get what she wants, but she still gets it. She won't come if you make her feel humiliated. She hates being humiliated. They're described as obstinate, but I like their obstinacy.
İstediği zaman kendisini sevdiriyor. Huysuz olarak nitelendiriliyor ama ben onların o huysuzluğunu da seviyorum.
You've probably noticed some contradictions between these statements. Pussy, who is said to be very quiet and docile, is the only cat in her house and gets all the love and attention for herself. Pemposh, who is said to be obstinate, isn't the only cat in the house. Angora cats create the impression that they only want to be a part of the world of people. And they don't want to share their owners or the things they own with other cats, even other Angora cats.
Tuvaletini paylaşmıyor.
She won't share her toilet with the
Onun için
others.
tuvalette
That's
ayrı,
why I put in separate litter trays for them all.
her ikisine de.
She won't let the others
O
come
kendi
near the place
bulunduğu
where
yere
she
öbürlerini
is.
yaklaştırmıyor. Çok
She's a very
bencil,
selfish
biraz da
cat,
malına
or
sahip
else
çıkan
she is
bir kedi.
anxious to stake a claim to what's her own.
She doesn't mix with the other cats at all. She is independent. She lies or sits on her own all day in the usual place, and she won't have anything to do with the others. Anyway, not being able to hear means she probably can't communicate much with them.
Angora cats are just like children in the way they demand love and attention.
Every morning he always gets up at 6:30 on the dot, regular as clockwork. Whichever bedroom he's in, he calls out in a loud voice and wakes the person in that room up. When that person gets up, he goes around the house, room by room, and wakes everyone else up. My wife takes him on her lap, and for about half an hour he doesn't get down again, as long as his back and head are strong. I think that's how he makes up for any lack of love he feels when people are just going about their business around the house. When he's had his breakfast, he gets about half an hour's playtime. We always have to give him that without fail. And of course, after we all come home from school or work, the same thing happens again in the evening. At around midnight, our crazy time starts again. We have to give it to him without fail. This behavior is almost characteristic.
Isn't all this late night and early morning play a bit tiresome?
Quite the contrary. We think it really relaxes and calms us down. I believe that in this tiresome world, with all its worries, this is a formula for relaxation.
She's really an emotional cat, very different from the others. She really misses us when she's left on her own in the house. And when we come home, she's like a child. She won't leave us. She's so close to us. She goes to the door to meet the children. She knows their ring. I mean, she knows they're coming home time and she meets them. I mean, she's very close to people.
Onları karşılıyor da yani. Çok yani çok yakın insanlara.
İçgüdüsü çok kuvvetli, onu hissediyorum. Benim
I can feel that she's got very strong intuition. 10 days before my mother died, this creature felt I was going to experience some great grief, and she made me feel it too. Of course, I only understood what it all meant when I lost my mother very suddenly. For 10 days before that, morning or evening, she would look me right in the eye, then come and lick my hand. I mean, she was showing such gentleness towards me that at the time I didn't understand it. But afterwards, when I lost my mother very suddenly, it went away and this creature went back to normal. But now I understand why she went like that. Just then, before it happened, she felt I was going to experience some great grief, and she showed that closeness to me.
Yakınlaşmayı göstermişti.
Kedimiz çok naridir.
Our cat's very delicate. He's choosy with his food. He won't eat everything. He loves lots and lots of stroking. He's very spoiled. When we've been away for a while and we come back to him, he rubs his neck and nose against us. He likes that kind of thing. He's very sensitive. If you say something to humiliate him, he gets upset and goes off into a corner. When I stroke him, he's all over me. He bites people he doesn't like. He really does it. But if you come up to him gently like this, he won't bite. Even if you put your hand up to his mouth, he'll just mumble between his teeth. He is such a sweet creature.
Marvish is a 4-year-old Tom, and he's deaf. In March 1993, he came second in an Angora cat show. Angora cat, also called Marvish, is a female. She's 11 years old and she's also deaf.
Kirlenmiş. Gel, gel. Zaten suyu istiyorsun. Gel. Gel canım. Şu ayağını çıkartın. Gel, gel. Ha? Tertemiz kız olacaksın şimdi. Kirlendin. Değil mi? Ha? Ondan sonra da uyursun. Olur mu? Maviş. Tatlı kız. Temiz kız olacaksın şimdi. Havlunu alalım. Oldu. Oldu. Bitti. Yıkandı. Tamam. Tamam. Tamam. Tamam. Tamam. Tamam. Maş. Gel. Gel. Gel. Gel. Kızma. Gel. Gel. Islak kaldı. Gel. Kızma. Kızma. Kızma. Siz de yıkayın bıcırık. Ha? Eyvah.
It's generally thought that long-haired cats are not as active as short-haired ones, but in fact Angora cats can be lively and playful.
It may sound unbelievable, but he's got a sense of humor. For example, when you're reading the paper, he comes up and hits your elbow with his paw. Then he runs off tree maybe 5 paces and looks at you. If you haven't taken any notice, he'll do it again and again, trying to get you to come and play. Then after, he makes an incredibly deep voice, very loud and getting louder and louder at more and more frequent intervals. In the end, he'll get you up no matter what. And when he gets you up, the tours around the house begin. He really enjoys that. I mean, he starts to run ahead and hide. I've shown this to a few friends. Yes, this little man's playing hide and seek, they say.
Fıstık is a champion cat. In the Angora Cat Show in 1993, he came first. Fıstık is a 2-year-old Tom.
He's never been frightened of strangers. He's extremely loving. That's something that I've never seen in other cats. He hasn't got any bad habits. He comes to you and the messages he sends are good. He doesn't show his claws and he's very curious. For example, it's said that cats are afraid of electrical appliances and high-frequency sounds. But Fıstık doesn't run away from any household appliance. And that includes the vacuum cleaner. We vacuum the house together. There's no problem at all on that score. He only ever protests about his food. We've observed this. If there's any food he doesn't like, he tries to cover it up. And if it was something he'd done in his little tray, then we know he doesn't like his food.